So for anyone watching the Premier League this season, you may have noticed Everton struggling quite badly down near the bottom of the table. Damaging scorelines, a change of manager and the wastage of £500 million in transfers over the last few seasons have resulted in a relegation scrap for a founding member of the Premier League. Other YouTubers are currently doing rebuilds on their channels on YouTube, but the aim of this video is to assist you in your rebuild of this historic club. Can you do better than Benitez and Lampard this season? Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another FM22 club guide on the channel. My name is Craig and come up in today's video, as mentioned, we are going through a club that have been struggling quite badly at the wrong end of the Premier League table, Everton Football Club. Now we are going to be going through such things as the club vision, the squads and the tactics that would probably suit your current squad the best, as well as any youth development players who you could probably bring up, not shove, but bring up into the senior squad. Now if you go on to enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button down below and smash the big red subscribe button. It is free to do, it does help the channel out, and also you won't miss future club guides as well as any other videos that will be coming out on the channel, including tournament simulations and the ongoing Unemployed to Legend series. Now I've just taken over on the screen, as you can see, at Everton, 2-year deal. We're only going to be going through all the aforementioned stuff that I have mentioned. I've not had a look at what is going on in this club at the moment, so it's all really completely new to me when I actually go through it. Let's dive in. So now that we're on the main inbox, as we've just started the game, the first thing to go over will of course be the club vision that the board have set out for you. So if you just go in and negotiate, really and truly you'll just accept this, but let's just run through it anyway. Some of this is pretty standard stuff: play possession football, play attacking football. A lot of Premier League clubs are going to have something very similar. Sign players under the age of 22, one of my personal favourites, and do not sign players over the age of 30. Now, as I mentioned, for me, I like to sign at young players, so this would be something that is absolutely going to fit the philosophy that I play with. Obviously, it depends if you like to get in like some of the older guys. Everton might be a bit of a problem for you then. And of course, develop players using the club's youth system, which we will come to very shortly. Now, as far as the 5-year plan goes, build a new stadium. Of course, as we know in real life, Everton do have a new stadium being built on the Mersey docks, so that is something that the board will really be sorting out. It says required, don't worry, it's the board who will do that, and work within the wage budget, very standard. As far as the current season goes, your first season in charge, the board are expecting mid-table, so there was none of this nonsense about, oh, you must get into Europe with Everton straight away. Nope, the board are just expecting mid-table, roughly around sort of that 8th to 12th place in the league. If you achieve that as a minimum, you'll be absolutely fine, as well as the 5th round of the FA Cup. Meet those required club vision notes from the board, you will be absolutely fine in your first season. The Carabao Cup reached the 4th round. It's preferred, in other words, whatever. If you get to the 4th round, fantastic. If you win the whole thing, even better. But it's not expected. But overall, over the 5 years, the board wish to qualify for the Europa League, become recognised as the best of the rest. In other words, you'll be aiming for the Champions League. That's what the board will be looking for after just 5 years. So we'll go ahead, we're going to accept all that. Mid-table finish, 5th round of the FA Cup, 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Don't worry too much about that one. So where does that leave Everton finances wise? Well, not great in terms of transfer budget and wage budget. You've only got £2 million to spend and £50,000 spare in the wage budget, so unless you're able to sell on a few players, it's going to be a bit difficult improving this squad. And considering Everton only have 2.4 million in the bank, I mean, that will improve over time anyway. Just because it's the Premier League money is just going to start rolling in. You'll be rich again in no time. But that means we are going to have to assess the squads just to see if there is anyone that we can sell on, as well as who we should be building the squad around. Right, it's actually been a few minutes since I last spoke with you, but I've just had a look at the squad screen and this is a mess, just overall. Yes, the ability of the squad looks quite good, it's quite well rounded, but it just, I wouldn't even say bloated, it just looks pretty average at best, apart from Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison and Doucouré, who are very, very good players and the top 3 players at Everton. But wage-wise, you've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 9 players all on £100,000 or more a week. And some of them I wouldn't even describe as quality players. I mean, let's just have a look. Andre Gomez. Yeah, he looks decent, but is he going to be one of the... He's not even one of the top players. Is he going to be a top player? No, he's not. Not judging by his current ability and potential. And just looking at his report cards, okay, he enjoys big matches. He's a leading Sky Bet Championship player. How much are they paying for him a week? 120 grand. Wow. Just, what is wrong with Everton? Are they paying 120,000 for a leading Championship player? Right there, get him off your wage bill. That right there is one player that you could probably try and get rid of. I mean, good luck in trying to find someone to pay those wages, but that is ridiculous. No one should be paying that much money for a Championship player. That is horrendous. If possible, try and lower some of these wages. Alex Iwobi is on 100,000, too much. Richarlison, Pickford, that's fine. They're 2 big players for you. Dele Alli, I mean, 100,000 for a player. I mean, he could probably do you a good job over a couple of years, but over the next 2 seasons, I recommend trying to sell him on as well. Allen is wrong side of 30. Van der Beek is injured. Andre Gomez is nowhere near good enough. Yerry Mina isn't even that quality of a defender. Yes, he's tall. He'll be good at corners and free kicks in the opposition area. But other than that, do you see him? He's decent Premier League level only. Do you see him being a long-term part of the plans? I don't. And on 120,000 a week, I would severely doubt that as well. Age-wise, let's have a quick look at this. 5 players you have who are aged 23 years or under. And that includes Moise Kean, who is on loan at Juventus, and he's joining permanently. Fantastic. He's joining permanently next summer. Why is there so many bonuses as well? Is this just standard for Premier League players? They have so many bonuses in their contracts. Let's just choose, let's have a look, a player who's not even top level. So Andy Lonergan, he's the worst player in the squad at the moment, contracted to Everton, he's not on loan. Yeah, this must be standards for all Premier League players. He's on 5,000 a week and he's got all these bonuses. Well, if you win the Premier League in your first season or 2, you've got a lot of bonuses to be paying out. You better hope that you're still in the black financially after all that has been paid out. But overall, it's quite an ageing squad. There's a lot of players. Let's just filter this. There we go. We've got a lot of players who are the wrong side of 30. Let's have a look. That's 7 players who are the wrong side of 30. And I'd argue that's over half your squad. About 3/4 of your squad are all 24 years or over. So the potential to grow with these players is not there. It really is not there. Moise Kean is your highest potential player, and he's not even going to be at the club beyond next summer. So there's a lot of work to do to be bringing in players under the age of 22. I can kind of see why that's a club culture thing that the club has set for you. They want younger players. I don't blame them. This squad needs some serious rebuilding, because even after your first couple of seasons at the club, that's a lot of players who are going to be heading into their 30s. Yeah, I'd say about half the squad will be around the age of 30 by the time you get 2 seasons in. Best start your scouting and get your scouts going all over the world. In fact, let's have a look. Assignments wise, obviously no one, they're all going to be on general focus obviously at the moment, but you're going to want to get your scouts going all across the world. And there's enough of the world that you know. 24% of the world, South America, Africa, Europe and parts of Asia are all well covered by your scouts. So get them out there, wire the world as they call it, and start bringing in those young players. Not necessarily wonder kids, although you are looking for those, but players who are just going to help your squad out in the next 5 to 10 years. Just make this squad younger and make sure it's high potential growth players who will become stars for your team. But before you get to the whole wonder kids finding, It's all about what your current squad is actually able to do. And that brings us, of course, to the tactics screen, where I've just quickly set up about 3 tactics as per what my assistant manager is actually recommending. And naturally, the 4-2-3-1 Gegenpress has come in here. I mean, I wouldn't say a personal favourite of mine, but it's something I've used in FM22. Just be careful, if you do use this Gegenpress system, your players will get tired and more injury prone very, very quickly. So if you don't want to use the Gegenpress, there are a couple of others that you could consider as well. A control possession style 4-2-3-1. Control possession, you've got the players to do it, especially in attack. The likes of Patterson, Ali, El Ghazi, Decore, they're more than good enough to be holding the ball and passing it around, creating attacks, especially for your main focus up front in Calvert-Lewin. A third one that I have selected, and if we just do a quick pick for this, it's not going to be your best players, obviously. Some of them are still on holiday, because it is, of course, the summer holidays. But if you want to use a wide centre-back system, which is currently a good feature of Football Manager, I haven't used it yet in FM22. Get the wing-back players further up the pitch. They will be your wide outlets. And then you've got the players who can move through the middle, such as Allen or Decore in this situation, as as a box-to-box midfielder and a Mazzala, respectively. Allows one midfielder just to stay back, and you've got your 2 focal points up front. It probably wouldn't be Rondon, let's be honest. He's nowhere near good enough. I mean, he's good probably as a backup, but again, he's 31 years old. He's not a long-term solution. He's not going to be improving. He's a fringe player as well. How much is he being paid? 45 grand. I said 500 million was wasted in transfers. I should have added on all the money they've wasted on the wages as well. Try and shift on Rondon if you can as well. Overall, just some quick systems just to get you started with this current squad. Obviously, you're not going to use someone like John Joe Kenny at wing back on the left because, as you can see, he cannot do it. What position is he even? He's on the right hand side, so why the assistant manager decided he should go on the left, no idea. But it depends on what your tactical preferences are. If you want to go a completely different direction, that's completely up to you. Play the game how you see fit. But I'm just giving you the quick start method for the systems that you could pick on Football Manager until you get the transfers in that you so desperately need to improve this squad. So just to bring it back to the squad screen very quickly, I did mention some of the better players of who you should be including in your first 11, the likes of Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Decore, Van der Beek once he comes back from injury, he's out for up to 4 weeks, Dele Alli and Jordan Pickford. You really should be including these guys in your first 11, certainly at the start of the season and form permitting. But which players should you probably be focusing on getting rid of? This comes down to, of course, really some of your lower ability players, so the likes of Andy Lonergan, who at 37 years old, he's not even your second choice goalkeeper. Can't even see it on here. So at 37 years old, he's unlikely to be playing for you. He's only just arrived, so it may be a bit difficult. But if you can shift him on in, say, the January transfer window, try and do so. If anything, just to get his miserly wages off the wage bill. I've also highlighted a few others that you may want to try and move on, the likes of Seamus Coleman, Solomon Rondon and Allen, as well as Cenk Tosun and Fabian Delph once they come back from injury. Obviously, Delph is out for 4 to 5 months. That could take a little bit of time, and so Tosun as well. So eventually, you may want to try and move these guys on. Yes, I'm literally saying try and get rid of some of your older players so you're able to bring in players with a bit more growth potential, in fact a lot more growth potential, and who are a lot younger to meet the club vision that you've been set. But let's be honest, these are not, apart from Allen, who you may want to keep around for a little bit, but otherwise you might want to try to capitalise on some resale value he might have. In fact, how much is he going to be worth? 28 to 33 million pounds. So if you get 20 to 30 million pounds, I would certainly consider moving him on, especially as he's on 120,000 a week. But otherwise, try and move on some of the guys who really and truly are not going to grow. They may not be playing for you week in, week out, and then reinvest that money in some youth, just to help yourself out as well, with regards to who else to possibly move on. The likes of Nathan Patterson, who I'm going to guess he's a youth player. He's not. He's come from Rangers. He's only just arrived for £12 million. For a championship player in the Premier League, Add this to the £500 million that has been absolutely wasted. He's a right back. He's 19. Okay, he's 19 years old. But I'm sure you can do better than that, especially with players that you're going to be scouting over the next couple of years. And speaking of youth players, we're going to come to the youth development, which is of course going to be very, very handy for meeting that criteria of developing players using the club's youth system. And just literally clicked on the screen, there's 3 players already that you may want to bring up, including this guy who's 3-star accountability, Anthony Gordon, a winger, attacking midfielder and a striker potentially. So he would already fit into that 4-2-3-1 system that you may want to consider. He's also, who's he actually wanted by? He's listed for loan. Right, so he's currently listed for loan. Burnley are interested, who are also a Premier League club. The irony. I would personally move this guy up. He's very quick. Mentally, he's only going to get stronger, and he's looking half decent for his age, and technically, probably more technically gifted than certain other players in your current squad. Move him up, let's give him that time. He's Sky Bet Championship standard, but he's much, much cheaper in terms of wages as well. £1,500 up till 2025. He is actually one of your own as well. He has played in the Premier League, so he's got Premier League experience, he's got Championship experience. I don't know why this guy would still be in your youth setup. Jared Braithwaite with 2.5-star accountability. He's only 3.5-star potential, but he's 19. He's under the age of 22. He's one of the club's own. Well, not quite. He was bought in from Carlisle, but for a cheap £750,000. He has played in the Premier League a few times for Everton, and I believe he is Championship standard with Premier League potential. Bring him up, give him at least the cup games. I mean, look at the mentality of this guy. He's 19 years old and he's mentally stronger than half your squad probably already. He's 6'5", centre back, great jumping reach. He's going to be a threat from corners and free kicks going forward. Get this guy in your senior squad and maybe move on 1 or 2 other defenders while you're at it. Yerry Mina. And lastly, for this section, we'll have Lewis Dobbin. He's only 2-star accountability, but with 4-star potential. £750 a week. Fits nicely into a 4-2-3-1 as well. Notice how I'm pushing the 4-2-3-1 very, very hard. By the looks of it, it's going to suit a lot of your players. Fancy that. He's very quick. Mentally, he's not that strong, but he's only 18 years old. That's only going to get stronger as the years go on. Technically, quite decent. He's got the good first touch, good crossing as well. Passing, maybe work on that in training over the next couple of years. Sign him to a longer term deal as well. At the very least, even if you sign him to a longer term deal and he doesn't quite progress as you want, you can at least just move him on when necessary for some good money. So in summary, Everton is a club that will need a massive, massive rebuild, and just as well that the board want you to be bringing in players under the age of 22, because you are going to need to make your squad much, much younger in order to get any growth out of the squad. Just remember, before you do any transfers or try and sell off any players, remember to bring up the players we've identified in the youth team. Anthony Gordon, Jared Braithwaite, Lewis Dobbin. Make sure they go into your senior squad, because even if they don't make it, you'll still be able to make some good money off of them. I mean, even Lewis Dobbin, how much is he worth? He's like 2-star accountability and he's still worth £7 to £8 million. That's kind of insane, but they all match the club vision that the board wants. Not just the fact they want mid-table, they want a younger squad. That is pretty much the whole key here. Also, just make sure fill out any staff that has been left open. I haven't actually touched staff at all in this one, but realistically, all the coaching staff and the scouts and the medical team is already in place. You just want to fill out any gaps. In fact, head physio and head of sports science, you might want to fill those out as quickly as possible, and even improve your scouts. Apparently your scouts are not even that good. They're below the average in the Premier League, so that's something that you will want to focus on. In fact, is there any room here? Recruitment analyst, loan manager. If any scouts come up that can improve your recruitment team, do so, even if it has to cost you money to get rid of the old scouts. There's probably a reason why Everton have wasted about £500 million if your scouts are not even good enough to start. I still can't get over how much money is being wasted on such average players. 9 players on 100,000 or more. Andre Gomez is a championship player. What were they thinking when they offered out these contracts? I still can't get over how much in bonuses there are as well. But, well, actually, Donny van de Beek doesn't have any at Everton. But this is something that you're going to need to sort out very, very quickly at Everton if you were to even make any money at all. I hope that you have enjoyed this club guide, and I hope it's given you a few ideas on where to look to start on your rebuild of this historic club. Everton deserve better than what they're doing in real life at the moment, and hopefully you will be able to prove that in FM22. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button down below and smash the big red subscribe button so you don't miss future club guides and other series that are going on the channel right now. I'll link a playlist somewhere above my head just so you can go and see what else there is on the channel if you're new. If you are new, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, I hope that you enjoy all the other contents that is currently going on. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.